Hey guys, so today I decided I'm gonna show you guys my houseplants. I love all things outside, but I also do love houseplants, especially because of our winter here. It's really fun to still be able to have things to care for inside the house, and it gives you that pop of green and life throughout the winter months. And then during the warm summer months, I actually move all my houseplants outside, but I kind of got a little bit ambitious this year because it was really warm here in May, like the early part of May, and I was like, oh, I can put them outside. Well, I should have checked the forecast because the nights are dropping down into like the upper 30s, which is still too cold for houseplants, so I had to move them all back inside. So I decided, well, since they're all in one place right now, by my door, by my patio, I'm going to just show you all of my houseplants. Here we go. Some of my favorites, I would say, are this rubber tree in this white pot right here. You can see the leaves are super big. We actually, well, my husband's trying to convince me to cut off one of the stems and propagate it, and then it would only have 3 stems in, so we can repot it and get it to stand up more straight because it's a pretty tall plant. I think this variety is called the Burgundy variety. It has like a red tint on the bottom of the leaves where the vein is. The new nodes that come out for the new leaves are just a really pretty burgundy color. So it has like a really dark green leaf, and then the veins are like a burgundy. So that's one of my favorites. It was probably the height of this stake when we first got it. So it has grown a lot. Super pleased with that one. It's pretty easy to care for. There are some things that I did learn about it. Like back here, you can see this like tiny leaf on this one stem. During that time period, it was obviously lacking something. And also they shouldn't lose leaves. I don't know if my watering when I first got it wasn't right or if it was getting too much water or something like that. So just some things that I learned about that plant. And then over here, this little fern, it's called a button fern. It is doing really, really good right now. I actually had it down in the basement by a window and forgot to water it because life happens. It kind of dried out a lot. I don't know if I can see this brown tip part right here. There dried out. So a lot of the plant was actually looking like that. And I just cut a lot of it back and soaked it in water and really regulated its water schedule. It came back amazingly. It's really cute. I really like it. Really easy to care for. It has a lot of new growth here. You can see the little fern things coming up. There's a word for that, but I'm not sure what it is. So I really like that one. These, I'm actually going to take out of these pots. I'm not a fan of these pots unless something likes to stay in damp soil. These do not. They like to dry out really, really well before you water them again. They're called Peperomia Frost. And when I first got them, like they were the size of this pot. Like the foliage came all the way around the pot. They're doing a lot better now because I just let them dry out completely. But this pot has like a reservoir in the bottom. And I just really think it keeps the soil too wet too long. So it goes like, I guess I could go a longer time without watering it and see if it does better that way. But I just feel like it would just do better in a pot like how this one has the drip tray, where I can see the water coming out and then it would evaporate up against the plant. Learning about that one, I just think they're really pretty though. It has like a frosty silver color on the leaves. Just your classic aloe plant, which I need to repot these little baby ones and get them out of here so that this big plant has room. And then like these need to come off too. You can see how they're dying down at the bottom. Just need to be cut off. That one's really easy to care for, honestly. I haven't had any problems with that one. And then this is just a succulent that I got. I thought it was really cool looking. I'm not quite sure the variety of it, but see all these little baby plants in there? You can actually take it out, separate all of those, and then you'd have like all these little plants to put in new pot. So that one's really cool looking. I really like the ribbed texture on the leaves. Really easy to care for. Do not like a lot of water. So I just take like a little dripper, literally put like a dropper or so of water or maybe 2, depending on how humid and stuff that it is. So I would say the fern, the rubber plant, the aloe, that little succulent have been pretty easy to take care of. This one has been a learning curve, but I really think it would just thrive better in a different pot. Yeah, just doing a lot of research on the water requirements, light requirements, stuff like that. But if you can nail the water, usually they'll be okay with light. Like if you put something that would like bright light, you put it in a place where maybe it doesn't get as much, but you're really consistent on making sure that it has the right water. I think they still do well versus messing up the water and getting the light right. So this orchid, I actually thought I killed it. I did a lot of research on it, and as soon as it is done blooming and these blooms fade and fall, I will actually cut that stem back. You can see where it's coming out right here. These little nodes right here were where the last leaf stems came out. So I'll actually cut it back, and then I'm going to repot it. You can see like all of its roots up out of the pot. When I got it, it was in a purple pot or something like that, just like the basic ones that you see in a store, and then it was in this inside of that. So I did research on it, and they actually like to be in clear pots. They should have slits like around the sides of the pot, because it kind of is an air plant. If you look at where natively orchids grow, they grow on trees, so there's a lot of airflow for their roots and stuff like that. So that is something that I learned. Also, I watched a lot of videos on how to trim their roots. So when you soak them in water and you see which roots turn like a bright green, like the leaves do, and which ones don't, and you actually trim off the roots that don't turn that green color, because they're not doing anything for the plant, and it's just taking out nutrients that the rest of the plant could use. As soon as it is done blooming, I will be doing that. I'm only potting it to maybe like an inch or so bigger pot. They do not like to go into a huge pot, so just making sure that you don't go much bigger than what the pot is too. And it likes to be humid, so I always water it, let it soak in water until the roots are really, really green. I will transfer it over to this like just drip tray with like stones in the bottom, let the water drip out the bottom, and then that'll all evaporate up and keep it humid as it's growing. I think this is called a moth orchid variety. You can see it kind of looks like this shape. That one's really pretty. It has like an orangey pink mauve color. In the right lighting, it has a shimmer to it, but I don't think you can see it on the camera. And then this one, we actually got a start from our midwife who helped deliver Viviana. And this is called an oak leaf ivy. It got a little cold, so we put our plants outside, and this one was over on the other side of where the plants were, and we just forgot about it, and it got really cold. I don't know if this white leaf stuff is from that, because the other leaves are pretty vibrant, like a chartreuse green color. It'll kind of climb up things if you can kind of train it. Like if you can see here, it'll climb up too, and its stem is kind of like a fuzzy, you can feel that it would like attach easy to something to climb. And then this other stem right here is kind of going out the side, and then you can see like it'll trail down over too. I'm gonna get pretty big. Right here is actually a new one. That's exciting. And here you can see like the new growth on it too. And up top, the leaves are kind of like a fuzzy little, yeah, start. This one was given as a gift. It's a Sansevieria, or a snake plant. And I actually think this is the same variety as my big snake plant that I have, but I'm not sure because it has more of a curl growth pattern. So you can see like how it kind of curls around more like a flower. And then back here, this plant is obviously a lot bigger. And this one just grows up straight, more like a fan. So that one's really, really pretty. I don't know if you can see it back there in my jungle. I actually wrote down the variety of the snake plant back there, or Sansevieria. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but this is the name of it. If anybody's interested in what kind of like variety it was, And then I'm pretty sure this one's the same. The texture or the variegation is a little bit different on this one than it is on that one. So I have to look up and see what this one is. But they grow really, really slow, so this one will be in this pot for a while. Here I have a peace lily. It's doing really well. I really, really like the dark green leaves. And then over here, like I saw that it had this growth on this leaf, which was really cool because none of the other leaves grew like that. So that was kind of cool. I don't see any blooms yet. Really enjoy that one. That one was also a gift. So I do not just feed my love for houseplants. Other people feed it too. This one is called it's this name right here. Red Anthurium. I'm probably pronouncing some of these names wrong, but learn as we go. It actually has a new bloom right here. It might have gotten too cold when it was outside, but they're like, they almost look fake because they're like this really like plasticky looking leaf. Like it's really, really shiny. And then the blooms are too, and they just almost look fake. They'll open more into like what it looks like a lily pad almost is what I call it. And I just love the like cone shape that the new leaves come up into. Just looks like it would catch water like that. And it looks really pretty when it rains on this plant. So this one's pretty easy to care for too. It likes to stay pretty damp. It absorbs a lot of water. So I just always check the soil, and if the top like 1 inch to 2 inches are dry, then I'll water them. And I have a reminder on my phone once a week, water Wednesday, so I don't forget it. I'll just go through and check everything, and if it needs water or if it's still kind of damp, I won't water it, but I'll check it again like just a little bit later in the week because I just don't want them to like dry out. So I'll just check them. Normally once a week is really good. As soon as they get to move outside, then I just make sure I always have like a watering can back there and just go through with like, if we don't have a lot of rain in a week or something like that, I just make sure they get water, especially if they're in the sun, which on our deck, it's kind of nice. They get morning sun and then the sun kind of passes over the house, and the like hot afternoon sun, they won't get that. So it's kind of ideal for houseplants to put them outside like that. This one has been the hardest one for me. It's called a peacock plant or a calthea. It actually has some new growth, which is exciting. I put this humidity tray at the bottom of it, and they like to stay humid and damp. I feel like this pot is the same as those little ones we're in that I said that I was going to repot. It has the water reservoir on the bottom, and I just feel like it's hard with those because you can't regulate the water as well as just having the pot drain out because you don't know how much water is still in the water reservoir. And then if it's almost gone and it dries out, just different variables, which some people might be super awesome at having them. I'm just not. It's a really, really pretty leaf. I love the color. And then the back has like this really pretty purple, but it has like some new growth. So here's one, there's one, right there's one. And like this dead stuff, like you have to go in and trim out. And then like this leaf I'm gonna trim off too. But like when I was trimming it, it was struggling so bad, and I didn't want to trim all of it off because you're not supposed to trim back, I guess, more than 1/3 of the plant. This leaf will be coming off now as soon as this one opens. And I'm hoping that just staying on top of that and then maybe repotting it into a different pot. I'm gonna see how this humidity tray does, like when I water it and let it water all the way through and let it drain into the humidity tray because it likes to be so humid. So our house is really dry, and especially during the winter, we heat with propane, so that's really hard on houseplants. So you just have to make sure that you mist them at least once a week or twice a week, depending on how dry your house is. That's something else that I learned too. Up here, have some air plants. That one's really, really pretty. It's actually grown a lot since I've gotten it, which is exciting. I'm gonna swing over here. Actually have another one in there. I actually want to put some gravel in the bottom of that one so that it lifts up a little bit more. And then while I'm over here, this ginormous plant is a golden pothos, and I got it to crawl over the top of my wall here. And so this part of it actually got a lot more sun, so its variegation is coming through really, really well. So you can really see like the golden pothos variegation that they're supposed to have is coming through really good on these leaves over here, which looks really pretty, especially like through the light and stuff like that. So I actually took a cutting out of this one. I let it grow out a lot, and then I recently just cut off more of that one to propagate it. So now I'm probably gonna do some more, because this one, or I'm just gonna train these other two that are hanging down on this side, train it to go up that wall. This beauty was actually given to us for free. There was a lady that we did a tree job for. She doesn't want houseplants anymore, and she had this beautiful Norfolk island pine. Really, really pretty tree. My mom actually had one when I was growing up, and I always remember, like, they're so soft. They look like they'd be really prickly, but they're so soft. Supposedly you're not supposed to just touch them all the time like that. I wish she wouldn't have trimmed all the growth off. And then also this one should have been taken out of the pot. We're just gonna let it do its thing and see how it grows. Obviously, once this one gets to this height, we're gonna have to figure something else out. So if you have any suggestions on the two trees in one pot, I've watched a couple videos about how some people have taken the root ball out and rolled it, tried to get as much of the soil out as possible, and like separated the roots. But that freaks me out a lot, because what if I kill it? It's a beautiful tree and it's so big, and they take so long to get this big. I don't know. If you have suggestions, or you have a plant like this, or you know somebody who did something with a Norfolk and it turned out really well, let me know, because I don't want to kill it. And then this was actually a gift from a wedding that I was a part of a long time ago. Obviously you can see it's huge, but this is a lucky bamboo plant. It was this big when I got it, and now it has grown. I don't know if I can train it. Might try and do something like that. I haven't really watched a lot of videos on this plant, so I might try and train it to do the curvature or do some other funky looking shape. This plant is a mystery. I don't know. I don't know what it wants. I think it's in too big of a pot. The edges of the leaves are not looking too hot. The new ones look pretty good in here, but like it literally doesn't seem like it grows at all, but it's not dying. So I don't know. If you know what this plant is, you can share it with me and let me know. I don't know what it is. I've done some research and I just cannot find it. It has like a palm tree looking branch thing, but that one was cut off, and like, so now there's this little one growing out of it. I don't know. And this one was from the same lady who had the Norfolk, and I don't know, did she just trim it off and not know? Not sure about that one. So that's the houseplants that I have right now. Oh, I wanted to show you, I propagated a pothos. So let me grab this. See if it's growing anything. Oh, the nodes are swelling. You can do that too. You can propagate your pothos. They're really easy to propagate. I did a bunch of them because I want to plant them all in one pot so that it has a bunch of vines that'll be growing out. And then this beauty is not a houseplant, but a really pretty bouquet from Jeannie's flower truck that I got over the weekend. That is my jungle right now. I'll probably add more this year because the warm weather gives me fever for plants. If you guys have a favorite houseplant, share them, what the name is. I'd love to add more. There's a bunch on my wish list. What your favorites are, or something that stuck out to you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see you guys later.